Hi there, welcome to tonight's lecture on stars. And tonight we have a nice program for you that includes me talking about different facts about stars, and you're welcome to help yourself over here to any sorts of teas, drinks, water we have, and also have some fruit and crackers. But before we begin, I'm just gonna check you in our schedule. I have to make sure that everybody gets here, so let me just check you in, okay? Let me just see here. What was your name again? Oh yeah, okay. Oh, there you are. I found you in our system. So, you're checked in now, and please have a seat over here. And we'll begin the lecture shortly. So, let me just see here. Get my notes ready. Yeah, the drinks are over there. Please help yourself. There's also coffee if you feel like you need it. Yes. And so let's begin today's lesson about stars. The stars are actually really fascinating. Actually, the closest star is the sun. You probably already knew this, but it's pretty amazing to think that our own sun is located a mere 100 million kilometers away, and it's an average example of all the stars in the universe. Our own sun is classified as the G2 yellow dwarf star in the main sequence phase of its life. And the sun has been happily converting hydrogen into helium at its core for 4.5 billion years. And it will likely continue doing so for another 7 billion years or more. And when the sun runs out of fuel, it will become a red giant, blowing up many times its current size. As it expands, the sun will consume Mercury, Venus, and probably even Earth. But then that's nothing to worry about. It will not happen for many years. So I don't think it's anything that should ruin your current state of mind or your life or anything. It'll happen way out in the future. So the second fact is that stars are they're all made of the same stuff. All stars begin from clouds of a cold molecular hydrogen that gravitationally collapse. And as the cloud collapses, it fragments into many pieces that will go on to form individual stars. The material collects into a ball that continues to collapse under its own gravity until it can ignite nuclear fusion at its core. And this initial gas was formed during the Big Bang and is always about 74% hydrogen and 25% helium. Over time, stars also convert some of their hydrogen into helium. That's why our sun's ratio is like 70% hydrogen and 29% helium. But all stars start out with like 3/4 hydrogen and one quarter helium, with other trace elements. So, and all stars is a third fact, that all stars are actually in perfect balance. You might not realize, but stars are in constant conflict with themselves. The collective gravity of all the mass of star is pulling it inward. If there were nothing to stop it, the star would just continue collapsing for millions of years until it became its smallest possible size. Maybe as a neutron star. But there is a pressure pushing back against the gravitational collapse of the star. And that is light. And the nuclear fusion at the core of a star generates a tremendous amount of energy. And the protons push outward as they make their journey from the inside of the star to reach out to the surface. A journey that can take 100,000 years. And when stars become more luminous, they expand outwards, becoming red giants, just like the sun. And when they run out of light pressure, they collapse down into white dwarfs. So, I'm gonna move on to the fourth fact I have for you tonight. And most stars, like I said, most of them are red dwarfs. And if you could collect all the stars and put them together in piles, the biggest pile by far would be the red dwarfs. These stars with less than 50% mass of the sun, red dwarfs can be even as small as 7.5% mass of the sun. Below that point, the star doesn't have the gravitational pressure to raise the temperature inside its core to begin nuclear fusion. Those are called brown dwarfs, or failed stars also. And red dwarfs burn with less than 1/10, one out of 10,000th of the energy of the sun, and can sip away their fuel for 10 trillion years before running out of hydrogen. So, the fifth fact I have for you is that the color of stars can range from red to white to blue. And red is the coolest color, actually, unlike what you'd think. That's a star with less than 3,500 Kelvin. And stars like our own sun are yellowish white and average around 6,000 Kelvin. And the hottest stars are blue, which corresponds to the surface temperatures above 12,000 Kelvin. So the temperature and color of a star are connected. Mass defines the temperature of a star. And the more mass you have, the larger the star's core is going to be. And the more nuclear fusion can be done at its core. This means that more energy reaches the surface of the star and increases its temperature. There's a tricky exception to this though: red giants. A typical red giant star can have the mass of our sun and would have been a white star all of its life. But as it is near the end of its life, it increases in luminosity by a factor of 1,000, and so it seems abnormally bright. A blue star giant is just big, massive, and hot. So, the next fact is that it might look like all the stars out there are all by themselves, but many come in pairs. And these are binary stars, where two stars orbit a common center of gravity. And there are other systems out there with 3.4 and even more stars. Just think of the beautiful sunrises you'd experience waking up on a world with 4 stars around it. Amazing, huh? I'd sure love to see that. But moving on to the next fact. And the biggest stars would actually engulf Saturn. When we're speaking of the red giants, or in this case red supergiants, there are some monster stars out there that really make our sun look small. A familiar red supergiant is the star Betelgeuse in the constellation Orion. It has been about 20 times the mass of the Sun, but it's 1,000 times larger. But that's nothing. The largest known star is the monster VY Canis Majoris. This star is thought to be 1,800 times the size of the Sun. It would engulf the orbit of Saturn, as I said. It's almost incomprehensible, but it is true nonetheless. And the most massive stars are actually the shortest lived. I mentioned above that the low mass red dwarf stars can sieve away at their fuel for about 10 trillion years before finally running out. When the opposite is true for the most massive stars that we know about. These giants can have as much as 150 times the mass of the Sun and put out a ferocious amount of energy. For example, one of the most massive stars we know of is Eta Carinae, located about 8,000 light years away. This star is thought to have 150 solar masses and puts out 4 million times as much energy. While our own sun has been quietly burning away for billions of years and will keep going for billions of years more, the Eta Carinae has probably only been around for a few million years, and astronomers are expecting Eta Carinae to detonate as a supernova in time now. And when it does go off, it would become the brightest object in the sky after the sun and the moon. It would actually be so bright that you could see it during the day and read from it all night, actually. So there are actually many stars. It's quite insane, actually. And you might be surprised to know that there are 200 to 400 billion stars in our galaxy, in the Milky Way. And each one is a separate island in space, perhaps with planets. And some may even have life. But then there could be as many as 500 billion galaxies in the universe. and each of which could have as many or more stars as the Milky Way. Multiply those two numbers together and you'll see that there could be as many as 2 times 10 into 30th 23rd stars in the universe. That's 2 0 0 point 0 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 0 0 stars. Totally insane. And now to the 10th and the final fact that I have for you tonight, which would mean that our lecture for tonight is over. And I'll round off by saying that with so many stars out there, it's really amazing to consider the vast distances involved. That's at least what blows my mind, and probably every human's mind. The closest star to Earth is Proxima Centauri, located 4.2 light years away. In other words, it takes light itself more than 4 years to complete the journey from Earth. If you try to hitch a ride on the fastest spacecraft ever launched from Earth, it will still take you more than 70,000 years to get there from here. And traveling between the stars just isn't feasible right now. But please, if you would like to have more information on stars, and if you found this night of astronomy very fascinating, I would suggest that you click on to our webpage, and next week we will have another lecture which will be about the facts about Earth. So I will hope to see you next week, and I'm glad that you enjoyed tonight's lecture. Bye and take good care, okay? Okay, thank you for tonight.